In this video, we're going to look at how to increase your punching power in a real fight by stealing something from karate. Now, if you've ever seen people taking karate and throwing punches, you know that when they throw their punches, they usually take their non-punching hand and they bring it back to their waist in a fast snapping motion every time they throw a punch. So when they're practicing punches, they do something like that. They pull that non-punching hand back really quickly, kind of snap it back to their waist. And different styles of karate do it a little differently. When I took a style called Shotokan, we were supposed to bring our hand right back to our hip, down very low, like that, whenever we threw a punch. In a style called Goju-Ryu, we kept our hands up here, right below our armpits, and we threw punches out that way, right? Shotokan was down here, Goju-Ryu was up here, but it was the same principle. In order to help the rotation of your body and increase the torque of your punch, you think not only about throwing your punching hand out, but you think about retracting the other hand back. So you're pushing and pulling at the same time. You almost think about the retracting hand more, and that really forces you to use your entire body to get a good rotation and to hit with power. Now the problem, of course, is that a lot of people, when they look at this, they say that's impractical for a real fight. You don't want to draw your hands back away from your face. You're going to get hit, and that's why boxers are taught to keep their hands up. When you throw punches, right, the hand stays right at your chin, because I throw this punch and I'm vulnerable to getting hit, so this one's here. And when I throw this one stays up here. So from a defensive standpoint, boxing makes a lot of sense to keep your hands by your chin and you don't do that retraction. But the truth is that there's a lot of value in that movement from karate. And what a lot of expert karate practitioners will show you and tell you is that when you're drawing your hand back, it's not really that you're just drawing it back to help with your punch. It's really supposed to simulate a grab. So you're in a fight with someone and you kind of grab their shirt, their lapel, and you pull that towards you as you throw that punch. And so you're hitting them with twice the force. So I'm here, I pull him into me, and then I strike. And it's like two cars colliding. If it was just one car driving, hitting a parked car, it has some force, but if it's two cars coming at each other with the same force, the impact is going to be twice as much. So they'll tell you, don't think about that retracting hand as just leverage for your punching hand. It's actually supposed to be a grab. It's part of a technique. And so with that in mind, that's how I would suggest using this. When you practice punches and punching with power, incorporate into your training the idea that in a real fight, you're not just in a bubble throwing punches. There are opportunities to push someone, there's opportunities to grab them and control them, whether they're wearing a t-shirt or a sweatshirt or behind their neck, whatever it may be. And if you can secure them and pull them into your punch, then you're golden. And so to practice that, think about reaching out and just using your fingers to kind of hook maybe under their sweatshirt and just pulling into you as you throw that reverse punch. And the only adjustment I would make here from traditional karate is think about what boxing taught you, which is to bring that hand back to your chin. So from here, pull that hand back to your chin so that while you are pulling and you're simulating that motion, you're still protecting yourself at the end of the day. And so if I reverse it here, I'm kind of reaching, hooking my hand, twisting and pulling it into me, and I'm covering my chin at the end of it, just like that. And you'll really see when you do that, that it does put power into your punches, because you're not just doing it with one side of your body. You're really exaggerating the movement on the opposite side. It opens you up and it helps drive your hips. One way I like to practice this is I take a belt from a gi and I just put it around Bob, and I say this can simulate a sweatshirt or a leather jacket or anything he's got or behind his neck, and I'm just grabbing it and I kind of pull it back to me as I'm delivering that punch. And I can really not only secure him, because in real life, Bob's going to be moving around. So I'm kind of getting a good grip on him so he doesn't evade my punch. And I'm pulling him into me. I'm thinking about bringing this back to my chin, ideally. But really in a real fight, it could be anywhere. If I grabbed him, I could even pull down because I'm holding him. I could use this elbow to kind of protect against getting hit from this side. But I practice just kind of bringing it back to my chin and stepping in and driving with that other hand. And this is a movement that isn't really encouraged in boxing, right? You're not allowed to hold someone and deliver punches like that, right? You have to kind of keep your hands to yourself. And besides, you're wearing big gloves anyway, so it wouldn't be practical. But in MMA, when you're wearing gloves like this, or in a real fight when you don't have gloves, it's very practical. Your hands could be very useful. You can put your hands on your opponent, you could turn them, manipulate them, grab onto their clothes. If he had a hoodie, first thing I would do is I'd pull this over him. I would use that so he can't see me. You can use everything you've got in a real fight. So practice using your hands to your advantage. Your non-punching hand, you can really think about grabbing clothing and pulling it into you as you deliver that punch. And I'll face the camera here just so you can see what that looks like. Instead of just from a boxing position, throwing that punch out, right, to my opponent's face and bringing it back, which is good, sound technique. There's absolutely nothing wrong with this. But in a real fight, I'm not wearing big, thick gloves, and I'm allowed to grab my opponent and manipulate him, take advantage of his clothing. So I want to think about this motion, pulling and twisting back to my chin, so I'm pulling him into my punch. It helps me do a number of things. It helps me secure him, it helps me generate force coming into me, and it helps really generate more leverage from my hips. So I'm pulling him as I'm punching him, right? And just stay loose. You don't have to think about tightening up and holding this person tightly as you punch him. You're just pulling him into you, just like that. And the only difference from karate is that I'm not dropping this hand down low to under here or to my hip. In a real fight, that might work if I wanted to pull him down, but for practice, to protect your chin, protect your face, think about always covering your chin. So if you're pushing someone, or you threw a shot, or you're throwing jabs, you grab and you pull down and into you.